Edmond, and I'm here with the Nana Project podcast. The Nana Project was a project established in order to try and address triple-negative breast cancer in African American women in the state of Georgia. But as we do this, we try to capture stories on breast cancer, stories on breast health. And today we have an artisan who is joining us, Ms. Raquel Hill, and she has a one-woman show that I'm excited to be talking about and excited to be presenting to our audience. Welcome, Raquel Hill.
Thank you for having me.
When you look at yourself, what are the things that you say are special about you and that you give to other people?
I think my resilience should be awarded. I mean, I think I don't even know how to stay down when I get knocked down. I just literally like, oh, I go to ground again, and then I get back up. I used to think something was wrong with me because I was always just jumping back up, and I never really could stay on the ground for long. So I just, things haven't been easy for me. So.
Right. But here's the question. When you talk about the things that you gave to your children
yes.
and the people that love you, what trait do you think that you share with them that they value the most about you?
I would say my budding optimism, and I can always see the bright side of almost any situation. Sometimes to a detriment, but the positive outlook, and again. The resilience. You will hear my children say, "My mom, she's been through so much, but look, now she's doing this." I feel even now I'm in the slingshot and I'm here. I'm being pulled back because when God lets go, I'm going to be even further than I was when He picked me up as a rock and pulled me back.
Absolutely. So if you had a message that you could give to young black women about breast health,
yes.
What would that message be?
You know your body. Like that is the key. What is out here is a formula. It's just a template. So there are things that every woman has in common, but there's specific things that only happen to individuals. So you know your body. Some people, before they even felt the lump, they felt like malaise. They were like, oh, something ain't right. So then they did an exam and they discovered the lump. So and even like as a kid, you'd be like, "Mom, I think something doesn't feel right. Girl, go sit down and drink some ginger ale."
And you get better.
But just know that you know your body. Your body's even different from your mom because you're part of your mom and your dad, and you're like a new creation. Mm-hmm. So just be confident about what you think might be wrong or what's really working out for you.
Excellent. Along with some of the other exciting things that Raquel Hill is doing, she's actually going to be our host for the Using Art to Heal event that we are sponsoring on the 28th of October at in Atlanta. You can contact our website to find out more information about that. But we're so looking forward to having you in that space, filling that space, bringing your energy, resiliency, and joy to our effort that's going to be happening on the 28th. And I just hope it's just, we're excited to have you. And I hope that it's uplifting and positive experience. I have that feeling with you. It will definitely be that. So you can find out more about that. We'll give you the details on that later in the discussion. Very quickly, we're going to start it off. The big question that Dejan always asks is who you is and who's your people.
I was born in a small town called Bogalusa, Louisiana. Honestly, I was born in Bogalusa, Louisiana. My parents attended HBCU's Grambling, and they moved to New Jersey because there was a shortage of black teachers, and the black students in Trenton were rioting. They didn't want to be taught by white teachers. So a friend of my dad's recruited some black educators, and we moved to New Jersey. So I moved to New Jersey when I was 2 years old. And literally my entire life, I had my children there, learned that I'm really good at marketing and using deductive reasoning there, went to high school and all those things in Trenton, New Jersey. And but my family, we were the only people to move there. Everyone still stayed in Bogalusa. So I spent all of my summers in
That's
Bogalusa, barefoot, jumping into the creek, drinking red Kool-Aid and, frappes and learning how to make gumbo and jambalaya and all those things that come with, eating crawfish, all those things that come from, having a Louisiana, New Orleans kind of heritage.
You, in talking with you earlier, you have a solid technical background.
Yes.
And you mentioned that you are a graphics artist and do graphics design, and you actually do art in different mediums. One of the approaches for the Nana Project is to actually use all forms of art in order to raise awareness of breast cancer. The fact that you are an expert at so many mediums and have had your hands in so many mediums excites me. Name one of your favorite pieces of art.
Recently I saw this exhibit at the Zuccotti Gallery. Oh, my friend has this piece, and I don't know who the artist is, but it's a black woman, and her face, and instead of her face is this huge bouquet of flowers, and they're all different kinds of flowers. And that's, to me, I think the artist is saying that he wanted to draw a beautiful woman, and he wanted to bring nature into it, and there's no certain way to just hone in on the eyes or the eyelashes or what just makes this woman beautiful. So it's not like the flowers are covering who she are. It's like the flowers are her.
Gotcha.
So I'll say this: dance is the jam. Dance is
your top medium of all.
Okay. God, if I'm not in a good mood, I won't dance. And then if something happens, all of a sudden I find myself up just dancing around the house, and I'm like, okay, mood has shifted. I kind of, just to kind of tie the whole art thing, is I think I have the concept of putting objects into spaces. I see how they fit. Even when it comes to like marketing, I see how your brand fits into social media. But dancing is all about taking the space and filling it up with a void without having to say anything. Music is beautiful when you listen to the silence that comes behind the words. Like when someone finished singing a tune, and then before they say the next word, there's this silence that you can listen to.
But with dance, you like the way it fills space stuff. And again, who are your favorite the dancers that you follow right now?
So I love, and I'm going to say Debbie Allen. Everything about her is just amazing. Misty Copeland, I'm completely in love with, and even I'm going to say Lori Ann Gibbon. She's a well-known choreographer from back in the days. Just I love their stamina and then their resilience. They seem to kind of ebb and flow with the trends and what's changing, and they know how to fit objects into space to create beautiful, outcomes.
How do you verbally? How would you describe when you know healing is occurring on stage? It's easy sometimes to be able to tell when conflict is occurring on stage. What are the movements or what are the motions? Can you describe those things that you see to let you know there's healing occurring in this place?
So, unfortunately or unfortunately, I'm probably going to be animated when I do this, but there's always like a revelation and an appearance and an awakening, a softening of the face. What was the crotch, now this person is standing up, like a fleeting to the edge of the stage, and a gentle graze back to let this person know that they've arrived. It's always that. And sometimes it's like you're listening to a song, maybe you dance to the lyrics, you can emanate the words. Maybe you're dancing to the melodic undertone of just the drums, or maybe you're doing some kind of majestic, magical combination of all of that, and you're completely, storytelling. And if you listen to a song and you're not listening to the beat, if a dancer decides that they're only going to dance to the bass line, and all of a sudden you see this dancer only like boom, boom, and that's all they're doing, now you're listening for the bass line, and then you can hear the melodic patterns on top of that. It's just an interpretation of like movement through it. So one of the things that I did, I taught dance movement therapy, and I would have my girls come in and I would ask them to tell me what kind of mood they're in. Don't tell me, show me in an 8 count. So if they were hungry, they were like, I'm hungry. If they were sad, they were like, show me that they're sad. Each of them got an 8 count, and by the time they were done, we had 32 counts. You turn on the song, now you have an entire dance and you have healing through this process. So it's Sometimes you can't
So
find
it's
the
more than
words.
necessary. So in other words, so you find healing not only in the visual art of watching other people dance. It's healing actually in the movement and participation in life's dance or
Right.
in the dance itself.
Right.
Where you're restored.
Right. Right. I mean, I may want to say something to you like, you make me so mad. I might just be like,
I felt it.
right?
I felt that. Don't do that to me again. I'm gonna go get my big sister. Come get you. But no, I'm telling you that so that is an art. That is truly an art form. When you are dealing and talking with when you're dealing and talking with your children and explaining difficult things, how do you use expression? How do you use your art background in order to communicate?
Well, you now it becomes a duet. So you react to what they're saying. You try not to make it all about your voice and your expression. You look at them and, you said something and the eyes got sad and you're like, oh, let me see how I can, make that better. So you're just taking in the whole of it, the slouching because you insulted them, and then an encouraging word, you see them, kind of stand up. So you have to listen to the whole entire body. You have to watch, everything, and just, I don't know. That's probably the best way that I can put that.
When you're in a storm.
Oh, okay.
When you're in a storm in life, how do you maintain the poise, or how do you maintain that peace in your body?
You don't. I'm going to say this.
That's okay.
You give into the storm, and you slouch and you lay on the couch and you Netflix the whole time, but your body will just kind of remind you like, girl, sit up. And then while you're watching Netflix, a commercial come on and you're like, and then next thing you know, you're remembering that this is just a moment. This is not forever. And as bad as it was, you're like, it didn't kill me, so let me just keep it moving. You realize,
make you strong.
I think that I saw a T-shirt says, "But did you die?"
Mm-hmm.
And you use that because number one, you never want to feel like that again, and then number two, because I have such a passion for people, you never want people to go to experience that. So you story tell and you start to tell people what you've been through, hoping to avoid them having the pain of dealing with that.
Okay, can you just repeat that point one more time, because I think that's a take home, the concept. You say you story tell.
Okay.
Yep. Repeat it again.
So you tell other people what you've gone through, and you story tell. And the reason why I laugh is I think everyone has like an old gift, and I believe I was the sage who sat around the fire and told stories. I was responsible for history being repeated. Maybe Pocahontas, I knew how to lead.
How about we call it a
griot?
Like that's what they call it in Africa.
Yeah.
And they basically have these people who were experts in telling stories, and we actually have one of our guests, Masiki Scales, explain that a griot was someone who basically was responsible for the history telling within a family, but what was more important was they were responsible for the truth in history telling for the family, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
But they were held accountable, and they were held in the highest esteem because they were able to actually share what the past history was.
So I used to think, I don't know what we know, that being attractive was like a curse because I can't pay my Georgia Power bill because I'm cute, this, I'm getting no value out of perfect lips or whatever I have. So, but it attracts people to me. So now people are looking at me. Well, now I'm going to make this of value. Maybe I have something to say. So you're not just going to come over and we're not just going to talk about eyelashes. We're going to talk about some things. And now, because I think I have this gift of gab, I can start telling these stories. And now if I bring in the dancing component and I'm using my hands, like, once upon a time, there were people like, what is she going to say next? So now it's like taking those superpowers, I guess, and using them for
Hold
good.
on, we're gonna stop right there. We're gonna find out what you are gonna say next, because between me and you, one of the things that I did an Eventbrite search when we were looking for people, and I found this Eventbrite site that was FCK, you and me, and I was like, I contacted my team. I said, I don't know who this sister is, but this is the only thing that's going on out there where you have a one-woman show who's addressing breast cancer. I know it's the 21st, the 22nd of October, but one of our days, I have to be here at this. At this show. And so the bottom line is, can you tell us a little bit about, first off, when is the show, and where is it going to be? How can we get tickets to the show?
All right. So the show is October 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Mm-hmm. On the 20th and 21st, it's going to be at the Arts Exchange in East Point. Mm-hmm. And those are evening shows, 7 the first night, 8 the second night. Mm-hmm. And then on Saturday, October 22nd, it's going to be at the West End Performing Arts Center. And you guys like your little acronyms, WEPAC. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be an afternoon show from 2 to 4 p.m. Tickets, you can purchase your tickets at www.fckpnk.com. So it's basically a website, so you can purchase your tickets one place. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how much does the space hold?
Well, the East Point space holds 80 people. I'm not doing like the elevated Fox Theater kind of experience. Mm-hmm. It's a black box, intimate, theaters. You guys are going to be invited into my living room, because when I was going through chemo and radiation, my couch was my best friend. I hung out on my couch all the time. So it's going to be a recreation of my living room and me kind of dramatizing what I went through, with breast cancer and the treatment, and then the recovery and the really dark period, where I needed to go see a therapist, and just how I was able to just kind of find hope. And I was blindsided by cancer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It hit me like a bus. Like, let's take it down to actually when you were able to, when you first picked up on the breast cancer. All right. So, and this is Act 2, Scene 2 is going to tell you this. I wanted a breast reduction. It's very similar to what happened in Sex and the City with Samantha. I was not thinking about breast cancer. I was in my 40s. I was not getting my annual mammograms, but I was overweight. I am a slim person, a petite woman, and I was almost 200 pounds. And I did my research, and it said, if you want a breast reduction, you need to have your end body. Because if you get the surgery now and you lose the weight, you're not going to be happy with how the breast will follow you. So I said, okay, fine. So I started eating right. I started cutting things out of my diet. Weight started dropping off. I lost 60 pounds. I was just taking a shower, minding my business, and not even really doing an exam, just washing. And I felt like a lump, and then the equation appeared. Breast plus lump equals lump in breast, therefore thou might have breast cancer. And the first thing I thought was like, how much money do I have in the bank? I've never been to Paris. I want to go to Paris. Like, what can I do? And then it was like, pull it back. Mm-hmm. Go find out what it is. Don't make any assumptions. Just right now, you don't know what it is. It could be benign. It could be anything. So I was hell-bent on just finding out what it is. And
I'm going to interrupt you just for a second. One of the things that people have to take into consideration is, as African-American women, African-American women are actually designated high risk by different organizations. That the American Radiology Society diagnosed all African American women as high risk for breast cancer. And the normal recommendations for mammograms, which is a screening mammogram, is to start at about the age of 50. But one of the things that they've done is come out with some recent research in November of 2021 to say that if you want to actually close the gap in terms of survival between African American women and Caucasian American women for breast cancer, you actually can start having mammograms and screening occur at the age of 40. So one of the things that we do in Nana and the Bushwoman, the recommendations we have is to actually have, by the age of 25 to 30, actually have women do an online screen, yes. Okay? It's only a 6-question screening process, but it arms you with information so that you'll be ready to go talk with your primary care physician about when to start your screening. You might need to start it at 40 or 35, but it also just basically gives you an area where you could start the discussions from. The other component that along with African American women being recognized as high risk and trying to get them involved in their breast care planning as early as the age of 25, right. Was just understanding, what the fact that while we mention mammograms and we mention it as if screening is the answer, when we look back at survival of people with breast cancer, and if you look at the subgroup of people that have good outcomes from breast cancer, upwards about 18% of them actually just find the lump on an incidental finding. Maybe about 27% of them find it on a self-awareness breast exam.
Right.
Our goal is to teach people how to do an easy self-awareness exam using art symbols from West Africa so that they have an easier, more culturally sensitive way to approach doing a breast exam in a regular way and stuff. But take us to now, you're in the shower, you feel something. What does it feel like?
Well, it actually felt like a little cherry pit. So it turned out that it was 2 centimeters. My official diagnosis is stage 2A invasive ductile carcinoma. Mm-hmm. And they said to me, "You have carcinoma." And don't nobody say carcinoma. I literally was like, "What is that?" And she was like, "Oh, girl, that's cancer." And it's almost like she was telling me like she was like glad. Mm-hmm. And then we hung up the phone and I was just like,
so they did this over the telephone?
Yes.
Let me how was that to be informed over the telephone instead of being brought into the clinic?
Well, what happened was I went on a Thursday. They told me I wouldn't have my results till Monday. And I was working for this company I was in Florida. I wasn't here. And so I was like, okay, when I get back, Sunday night, whatever, Monday, I'm going to get this call. But they called me the next day, literally on Friday. Mm-hmm. I was in Florida. I had students in front of me. Because they called me so quickly, I was like, this is good news because they called me right away. So I answered the phone all delighted or whatever, and my kids saw my whole face change and like a tear come down my face. And I was like, I can't believe it. Now there's what's more to this, and mm-hmm. I don't know how much time we have. Is I didn't have a job at the time, and these are literally like lines from the play. I didn't have a job, or a good job rather. But either way, I didn't have any health insurance to pay for the health services. Right. So I was on like Medicaid, mm-hmm. and at the time I was on Medicaid, I went to get my exam so that they can tell me what it is, and they had the results. But Donald Trump called for a freeze. Right. And there was no money to fund this, so they would not give me my results until this got funded. It took 3 months before he lifted that freeze before somebody called me and said, yes, you have breast cancer.
So okay. Here, this is another example where policy.
That's why it's called FCK, P and K. You and I are left out.
Right, because that's the importance of this play, basically to show that breast cancer treatment and care, it's sometimes it's almost set up as if it's not made for African American women to have good outcomes. One of the reasons we're addressing triple negative breast cancer and breast cancer in general is because African American women, they get it at a younger age, but they actually have a higher death rate once they get it. And there are initiatives going on in America right now to basically talk about and raise awareness of the lack of, I guess you could say, the impact of the imbalance in care between African American women and white women when they get breast cancer. In other words, how do we close that 40% higher death rate? Black women actually get breast cancer at a lower incidence than white women. It's only about 1 in 9. The other thing that's interesting is in terms of mammograms, actually the highest demographic for doing mammograms is the elderly black women. So elderly black women are locked in and they're treating themselves. But what happens is it's women who are under the age of 50 that black women under age 50, where that message is not getting trickling down to them and stuff. And it's our hope that with the NANA project, we can try and address that younger generation to get them to do those tests at the age of 25, show them the easy way to do it, and get them in front of you so that we can show them how to deal with breast cancer. But one of the things that, so you say it felt like, what did it feel like when you felt it?
I just felt like like it didn't. So breasts are lumpy to begin with. My best way to kind of just remember is I felt the other one, and usually, in your body, like you got an ear here, you got an ear here. So I felt it, on the left side, and I was like, well, and then I didn't feel anything over here. It was really smooth, and I was just like, yeah, this is weird. And then I just started kind of playing around with it. It felt like a little chair, like an M&M was like embedded underneath my skin. You felt
like you felt something like an M&M.
Yeah, like
that you felt in your breast.
M&M underneath my skin.
Let me ask you a question. Had anyone ever shown you what a positive finding feels like on a breast exam?
No.
Right. That's one of the constructs that we're trying to break down as part of the NANA project. We are teaching people how to do self-awareness breast exams using 3 art symbols from West Africa as hand guides, but we do them with positive finding breast exams. And one of the things that we've noticed is that when it only takes a minute and a half for sisters to feel a positive finding, for the light to go on. We tell women to check. We never tell women what to check for.
Right.
And so we believe we're doing a good job. If, hey, did you check yourself? They say, yes, we did, but really we're not showing people what to check for. Right. So it's our hope to basically get in situations where we can have people lay hands on positive findings and stuff like that. So, but the other component, this policy construct.
Yeah.
You're saying because of a policy, they didn't fund Medicare or didn't fund what your insurance was, and it took almost 3 months for you to get contact and let know that you had the positive finding.
Yep.
Right. There's a concept that I've been introduced to called reproductive, kind of reproductive rights. But more important, it basically raises the awareness that in certain subgroups, like black women, policies are set up that are almost designed for you not to be able to succeed from a health standpoint. And that may be what you just expose us to. So after you get this diagnosis, what happens? Who was the first person that you told?
I feel like I'm just reciting my whole play. So just like a black woman, you don't want to panic everybody.
Right.
So I wasn't going to tell anybody.
Right.
I literally was going to go and get whatever surgery, whatever needed to be done, whatever. But scene 7, the doctor says after you take the surgery, after you get the surgery, somebody's gonna have to take you home.
So you
and
have
I literally said to them, "You mean I can't take an Uber? Like, can I just take a cab? Like, somebody got to take me home." And he's like, "Yeah, it's better if you don't do this alone." I don't have I try to think about who could unselfishly be with me, and for me, unfortunately, that didn't include my mother or my sister.
Right.
But I had this cousin. My God, my rock. Ah.
What's your name?
Rhonda.
And so Rhonda was the person. Rhonda was the
She was there for me like it was her body.
Right.
Like,
she made in the book Nana and the Bushwoman, we have basically a matriarch and a woman who's running a household, who stands in the gap for a younger woman who has to deal with a challenge. And I think she may fit the profile for the Rhonda in your life.
She showed up at my doctor's appointment. She had a notepad. She had done research. And I'm still in shock, and I don't know I'm in shock. So when the doctor would say something, she would like, "Wait a minute." So da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And she was just taking like all of these like, she was there where I couldn't, because I was still kind of like, okay, yeah, da-da-da. And then the back of my eyes like, you have cancer.
Right.
So, yeah.
So Rhonda, well, praise God for her.
Praise God.
Now here goes the question. with her presence, like I said, understanding that in Not in the Bush Woman we have a matriarch
Right.
who stands in the gap and does what Rhonda did for you. Did that change how you approached your support system once you got Rhonda involved?
Well, it made me realize that I wasn't alone. And, just that was like fear, like I'm going to lose my position in the family because no one's going to see me as strong because somewhere, I sneezed and caught cancer. But she always looked up to me. That just never changed. I just so happened to be the one, catching cancer. It did make me aware that all the things that, and I think Black women, we do this, like we don't want to be a burden. We don't want to bother you with our stuff because I got it, I can handle it. And plus, and even because I'm a single parent, you single parent everything. You're like, I don't need you, I got you, I got this, I can take care of this. But it just made me realize that everyone's not judging you, and you can bring people into your. There are people who genuinely care about me, and I had been missing that boat my entire life. Like I really thought like nobody cares about me, but she showed me in more ways than one that that she needs me here.
Let's rewind it. Let's rewind it and say we have. Let's rewind it and say we deal with this again based upon the knowledge that you have and all the knowledge that you have right now. What in your opinion makes for a quality support system for women who are about to go through this? And now you get to be the Rhonda, and you're educating other young sisters who are say 40, 45 and less who develop breast cancer. What are the characteristics of a support system that they should look for?
All right. I'm glad you asked that question because one of the things that I want to address with this play is how to show up for your people, for your friends who are going through breast cancer. It might be some, but as far as me, I do not come grieving me. Do not, like the first time people will call me, like I'm just answering the phone, fresh call. Hello, are you okay? It's Sunday morning, the sun is out. Why you greet me like that? Are you sitting down? Block this number. You're not going to be here during my treatment. We want you to show up for whoever you are in our lives. If you're the person who gossips all the time and I'm going through cancer, even if I'm coughing and I say, girl, what's going on? I want you to talk about Mary from up the street because I need that. If you're the person who cooks all the time or cleans all the time,
bring me
don't
some
come
food.
over my house rubbing my damn back. Like, let's go in this kitchen and cook. And we're going to call the person who is that, for us. We're going to bring them in. But my mother and my sister weren't invited because they just be like, Lord, child, she got the cancer. I don't know what to do. Just get out there. I needed people to be like, girl, this is what we're doing when this is over. We're going to Paris. We about to do this. You're going to wear this. Let's watch Sex in the City. Let's watch The Devil Wears Prada because, girl, all the lines to that. Those are the people that you want around. Even I think if someone has like a terminal kind of diagnosis, you still don't want them to be like, let's pick out some tombstones, shall we?
Right.
Like you just give me some hope and whatever. Or if you just be like, girl, we're gonna have a New Orleans second line. We're gonna have a Jubilee. What song you want? Then like, what color you want your umbrellas? Like, that's who you want to surround yourself. I think that makes an excellent. It's part of healing. It's all part of healing and stuff in terms of that. Number one, I want to thank you. Number two, we're going to be there to support you. Thank you.
In a couple of different ways in terms of your one woman show.
Now I would be lying if I didn't say I'm scared. I'm so afraid of this project. But I know what the impact that it's going to do, and I just want to really show up and give people what I think that they're coming for. It scares the crap out of me, like,
wow. Well,
because it's so, I don't know, it's vulnerability, and it's just, I think it's truth, and I just, sometimes I'm like, no, I want to hear you on the stage for an hour talking about cancer, but I don't know, I think it's a unique perspective, and it's the perspective of the person who went, through it. Like, I'm not just making this up.
Right. Number one, to be commended for putting yourself out there in this way. Number two, just doing the interview with you, it makes me want to come see you on stage. You know why we have her being interviewed in terms of her ability to be expressive and her appreciation of aesthetics. But what I want to do is give you the last word in terms of our interview, and I'll let you go at it for a good minute. Tell us what message, what take-home message or legacy message you'd like to leave with people that we have exposed to our podcast.
All right, I'm going to say pay attention. Like, God is always talking to you. When I got my diagnosis, I didn't want nothing to do with pink. I didn't want to run no Susan G. Komen, nothing. I did not. This is a sorority. I did not want to be involved. But he chose me to go through this because there may be people who are thinking like me who need to know that you can get through this. You can get through it. So the key is you have to show up, and God, he's telling you, like, even now there's something that's going on, some ear twitching, some stomach, gut rumbling, something. He's telling you the truth about who you really are, and you have to not be afraid to step up, show up, and speak out. Something like that.
Raquel Hill, let me tell you, One Women's Stage Show, FCK, PNK, it's going to be on the 20th, 21st and the 22nd. And oh my goodness, I forgot, she's also the host for the Using Art to Heal soiree that's happening on the 28th of October. Come on out and meet her personally and find out more about her. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. Raquel, let's make it happen. One other thing I also want to say is that you've already won because of the concept of putting this out in this space has inspired other people to share their story. Okay. God bless you. Let's make it happen.